Today I'm going to be talking about Apple's brand new iOS 11. But first, my name is Steve Smith, this is TQA Weekly, and this is my first impression of iOS 11. There's a lot of new stuff in there there's a lot of brand new stuff in there that's going to make this phone a lot better. For those who didn't know, I have an iPhone 6s, so that's your reference for what I am basing my experience from. You know, the last iPhone with a headphone jack. I do listen to music, even though I used to use wireless headsets. I do actually prefer having the choice because whether or not charging the iPhone or not was the issue. Once the battery on your wireless headset dies, you kind of want to use a wired headset. So a lot of people might actually be into that. I also have an Apple TV. I'm also into Netflix. So this becomes a very important thing where the iOS features are something that we might want to look at. So first of all, for the first time ever, Apple introduces something known as Do Not Disturb for driving. Much like Do Not Disturb in general, which a lot of people use for when they're sleeping, Do Not Disturb for driving actually does have manual and automatic modes that allow the phone to detect whether you are in motion or not. And I'm going to say in motion because you're not necessarily driving if you turn it to automatic. You could be biking, but what ends up happening is all the notifications are basically turned off, and you can set it up so that it sends a text message to people stating that you are driving, and you will reply to their messages later. And that is a very cool feature that might actually end up saving some lives. There is also an SOS mode, which all you have to do is click the power button 5 times, and it will enable you to get information from the person about their health and who they are. It will allow for an SOS mode that basically calls emergency services. And it also, by the way, disables face and touch ID. So if you are ever in trouble, you'll be able to get help. But if you ever need to make sure that nobody can force your hand or face into the camera's way, like a cop who doesn't have a warrant trying to get into your phone, that is another way of making sure that your data is secure. Then there is the flashlight. I know there's a flashlight and it's been there for a long time, but it's the first time that has a variable setting. There's no reason why this shouldn't have existed before, but of course, it is now in the phone. And then we also have native support for Apple TV, which can be added to the control center, which means that without unlocking the phone, you have the potential of controlling your Apple TV, which is something I do have and is really cool. And the first thing I did once I saw that was uninstall the other application because I didn't need it anymore. And then that also brings us to the control center. It can finally be customized with 16 possible additions in a control center, so you can make it your own. You can add flashlights, Do Not Disturb while driving, and a whole bunch of other stuff that might actually be useful to you. No more of this bullshit menu that applies to everybody when it doesn't really apply to everybody. Now you can make it your own. And then let's talk about privacy and location services. Apple, in its infinite wisdom, has decided to tell developers to go and fuck themselves. Literally, go F themselves. You are no longer required to have always on, off, and sometimes the addition of while using the application. While using the application is now something that is hard-coded into that privacy setting. So even if the application developer didn't want to support it, it's being supported whether they like it or not. Then, of course, there is the music player. Now, for those who've seen my other one, we know that I don't really like the music player since iOS 10. And you basically, because sure, you can play music anywhere within that music player, but you do have to click on the song name at the bottom and scroll up to be able to hit repeat once, repeat all, or not repeat at all, which is something that I find that they should have added up higher, not below the fold. But for the most part, at least you have a dedicated play button and a shuffle button that is now immediately visible. But if you want to replay a great song, you're still going to have to click the song, swipe up, and actually hit the repeat button as before. And then, of course, finally, we have screen recording. This is a thing now in iOS 11. I'm sure Android has had this for a while, but this is a default thing that you can actually set up in the control center, meaning that you can actually get a lot of episodes out about your favorite stuff in iOS 11 now starting it from the control center and being able to do whatever you want, whether that is showing other people how to do stuff on their phone or even record gameplay on your favorite device. And what do I say is missing from iOS 11? Well, the same thing that's been missing from iOS 10 and iOS 9, and I'm pretty sure existed before, and this is the select all within the Mail application. I don't know why I can get a variable flashlight, the ability to screen capture, and also have the ability to be able to not be disturbed while driving and still not be able to select all for all my email, something that apparently did exist in iOS, but who knows why it disappeared. If you only have a few emails, big deal. But if you have hundreds, thousands of emails on your phone, you know that it is annoying trying to select them one at a time. So, of course, while I think the overall package is great, that is a feature that is missing. And here is basically the latest remarks I'm going to say about this before I go. For those who love the game Flappy Bird and any other game or application that is currently 32-bit, say goodbye to them, because only applications that are 64-bit will run in iOS 11. Sorry, but that is just the way Apple decided to go. So if your application that you like does not run in 64-bit, there's not much we can do about that. That means all other phones that were 32-bit, including the iPhone 5, are now no longer supported by Apple. So if you have one of those, probably finally a good idea to flip for a new one, preferably one with a headphone jack, but that's up to you. So like if you like it, dislike it if you didn't, share with those that you think benefit from this, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions for topics, email me at ask@tqaweekly.com or go to my website, tqaweekly.com, for everything else. And if you want to make this show better, go to patreon.com/tqaweekly and become a patron today. Patrons get these episodes 24 to 48 hours in advance of everyone else. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.